Right now, if you are anywhere between Indianapolis and Columbus, step outside and look to your southwest. That greenish cast on the horizon is exactly what meteorologists call pre-storm coloring, and it means business today. By 8 o'clock tonight, over 100 million people across 9 states will have been in a severe weather corridor. I want to be straight with you this morning. This is the most geographically widespread setup I have tracked this month. What makes today unusual is not one big tornado outbreak, but 3 separate severe threats firing at the same time. We have the Ohio Valley and Northeast, the Northern High Plains, and the Southern Plains all active simultaneously. I'm going to take you through each one region by region so you know exactly what your Saturday looks like. We start in the Ohio Valley because this is where the most people live, and the threat is already on the doorstep. That cold front pressing southeast is colliding with air carrying dew points near 70 degrees across Indiana and Ohio. That collision is what ignites discrete supercells, rotating storms capable of producing tornadoes and 2-inch hail. The SPC has a 2% tornado risk centered on Pittsburgh, Cleveland, and Columbus for this afternoon. And that 2% risk may expand westward toward Indianapolis before the afternoon outlook is updated today. Gary is a retired electrician in Fort Wayne who told me his power company is already pre-positioning crews today. Gary, your window for the worst of it runs from about 2 until 7 this afternoon, so plan around that. Here is how the afternoon unfolds hour by hour across this region starting from right now. Storms will fire near Lafayette and Fort Wayne, Indiana just after noon with large hail, the first threat out of the gate. By 3 to 4 o'clock Eastern, those storms become far more widespread from Indianapolis all the way east to Columbus. Tell me in the comments what the sky looks like from your front door right now. I need your ground truth reports. People in Cleveland, Pittsburgh, Columbus, and Indianapolis, your real-time reports help everyone watching right now. Any storm that stays discrete and isolated between 3 and 6 carries a legitimate tornado risk in this environment. The good news is that low-level wind shear today is fairly weak, which keeps most tornadoes brief, and on the weekend, weak does not mean harmless, and EF1 at 110 miles per hour can still take your roof off. Plain and simple. By 5 to 6 o'clock, storms become widespread from Indianapolis east through central Ohio and into western Pennsylvania. Pittsburgh, Scranton, and the Lehigh Valley, your threat transitions from hail and tornado risk to a straight-line wind event. Damaging wind gusts of 50 to 60 miles per hour are the primary threat as the line consolidates and pushes east. By 8 to 9 o'clock, a squall line moves through Philadelphia, New York City, Long Island, and then Boston. Providence, Hartford, and Portland, Maine, you are the last in line with storms arriving around 10 to 11 tonight. Jim is a retired teacher in Buffalo who asked me whether tonight's storms would be worse than last Tuesday's system. Jim, tonight is different. A squall line hits the whole city at once, not just isolated cells passing through. Before I continue, you need to know about something that is happening tonight that has almost no news coverage yet. While the Ohio Valley deals with its threat, the northern prairies of Canada are setting up for a significant tornado outbreak. Saskatchewan and Manitoba today have significant tornado parameter values of 5.2. That number on a 0 to 10 scale is alarming. For context, a value of 5 or above typically produces large long-track tornadoes, not quick spin-up brief events. The area just east of Regina and west of Brandon is the bullseye for that outbreak starting around 8 tonight. If you have family in Saskatchewan or Manitoba, reach out to them before dinner today, not after the storms fire. For northern North Dakota viewers, your threat is primarily 75 to 80 mile per hour straight-line damaging wind gusts. The tornado risk in North Dakota is lower today, but the wind threat is significant and capable of structural damage. Heading south, the Southern Plains is dealing with its own storm setup that is separate from everything else today. Dew points of 70 degrees across southern Oklahoma and West Texas are fueling storms with heavy rain and large hail. The primary threat from Abilene through Oklahoma City is large hail and flooding rain during the late afternoon. No joke, Central Texas is dealing with an ongoing flooding concern after last night already delivered several inches of rain. Turn around and do not drown applies this afternoon across every low water crossing from Abilene north to Oklahoma City. The severe weather risk here is lower than the Ohio Valley, but the flooding threat is real and potentially life-threatening. Walter ranches outside Amarillo and said 2 of his pasture roads are already underwater from last night's rainfall. Walter, the second round of heavy rain moves through your area late this afternoon. Move any livestock to high ground now. Now let me walk you through Sunday because the threat shifts completely and a different group of people needs to pay attention. Sunday's primary concern moves away from damaging winds and toward flash flooding across the Central Plains and Mississippi Valley. Precipitable water values have been loading in the atmosphere and slow-moving storm clusters will train over the same areas. The WPC is tracking a flash flood risk across Kansas, Missouri, Iowa, and into the Mississippi Valley for Sunday afternoon. Training thunderstorms can drop 2 to 4 inches on the same neighborhood in under 90 minutes. That is the danger. Low-lying roads, underpasses, and neighborhoods near creeks and streams from Kansas City through St. Louis are most vulnerable. Good Lord, that front crossing the Appalachian Sunday is going to feel like a gift for the Northeast after this heat. Around Lake Michigan, temperatures drop to the low 70s Sunday with a comfortable lake breeze around 10 miles per hour. For the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley, Sunday is actually a welcome story cooler. Drier air moves in by midday. I also want to flag something that deserves more attention today, the dangerous heat building in Puerto Rico right now. Heat index values in Puerto Rico are tracking between 100 and 108 degrees Fahrenheit today with very high humidity. If you have family in Puerto Rico, make sure they are hydrating aggressively and staying out of direct sun this afternoon. Heat at this level is not uncomfortable, it is dangerous, and it can become life-threatening for seniors within hours. I want to show you something about the week ahead that most weekend forecasts are not including in the conversation. Tuesday and Wednesday next week have my attention even more than today's setup, and that is saying something. What drives Tuesday's threat is a strong low-level jet shifting dramatically eastward and fueling severe weather across the plains. North Dakota, South Dakota, and western Minnesota will see elevated tornado conditions as that low pressure organizes Tuesday. Then Wednesday, the European model shows the low-level jet pushing all the way east toward Minneapolis and into Wisconsin. The European ensemble is significantly more aggressive than the GFS on Wednesday's potential, and it has been consistent. 4-day model consistency on a severe weather signal at 7-day range is not something to take lightly or dismiss quickly. Wisconsin, Minnesota, Iowa, and Illinois on Wednesday could be looking at a high-end severe weather day if the Euro is right. The GFS is more reserved right now, but I have seen Wednesday's setup shift toward the European solution before in my career. Ruth is a retired librarian in Fargo who asked me whether the active pattern continues through Father's Day weekend. Ruth, honest to goodness, this conveyor belt of storms runs through at least Wednesday and possibly into the following week. Let me shift now to the tropics because a signal has emerged in the past 48 hours that deserves a careful explanation. The Central American gyre, a broad, low-level spin over Central America, is pushing moisture into the Gulf right now. June 3rd was the official start of hurricane season, and this gyre is already creating development potential by next week. The GFS, which tends to be more aggressive with tropical development, shows a low pressure near the Florida Keys around June 12th. In the GFS scenario, that system drifts northeastward into the northeastern Gulf and could make landfall near the Florida Panhandle. The European is more conservative, keeping moisture disorganized down near the Bay of Campeche, no two ways about it. The 51-member European ensemble is split with roughly 35 to 40% of members showing development between June 13th and 18th. The AI guidance from both the European and GFS systems is also showing a tug of tropical moisture northward into the southeast. What does that mean in plain language for the Gulf Coast? It means heavy rainfall is coming regardless of whether anything organizes. The Climate Prediction Center has already placed a slight risk for heavy rainfall across the southeast for that same mid-June window. Ray is a retired fisherman in Mobile who has been tracking Gulf water temperatures and said they are running very warm. Ray, warm Gulf water in June is one of the ingredients that makes early season tropical development possible. Stay informed. Gulf Coast folks from Texas to Florida, what does your sky look like today and what are your local conditions? Your ground level observations are more valuable than any model right now, so please share them in the comments below. Before the bottom line, I promised you some actual good news, and I mean that not just softening the blow. By Sunday afternoon into Sunday evening, the Great Lakes and Ohio Valley get a genuine atmospheric reset. Cooler Canadian air dropping into the mid-70s with low humidity, the kind of weather you want to be outside in. The Northeast gets the same break starting Sunday night, and it carries through into a comfortable Monday morning. And in the western United States, no severe weather, no extreme heat, just a beautiful early summer weekend out there. Here's your direct action list for every region in today's threat. I am keeping this as simple as possible. Ohio Valley from Indianapolis through Columbus and Pittsburgh. Severe storms with tornado risk arrive between 2 and 7 tonight. Know your shelter before noon, not at 3 when the sky turns green, but right now this morning. Squall line viewers from Philadelphia to Boston, 50 to 60 mile per hour wind gusts sweep through between 8 and 11 tonight. Central Plains and Mississippi Valley, Sunday's flash flooding risk requires you to stay off low water crossings after dark. Gulf Coast from Texas to Florida, watch the tropical signal daily. Beginning Wednesday, the pattern shifts significantly by next weekend. Puerto Rico, a 108-degree heat index today is a health emergency. Get to air conditioning and stay there now. And for everyone watching from Canada, Saskatchewan and Manitoba are in for a serious night. Please take this one seriously. I started this morning by asking you to step outside and look southwest at that sky. Let me explain what a supercell actually is because understanding it tells you exactly why today is different. A supercell is a rotating thunderstorm, the only storm type that can sustain a tornado for more than a few seconds. What creates the rotation is wind shear, meaning the wind changes speed and direction sharply as you go up in altitude. Today's environment has 30% probability of damaging winds and a 2% tornado risk from Cleveland to Columbus. That 30% wind threat is the more widespread danger today. It will affect far more people than the tornadoes. Every time you see a severe thunderstorm warning on your phone tonight, assume damaging wind is in that storm until proven otherwise. To put today's Ohio Valley setup in context, let me show you 2 days in history that look a lot like this. The Palm Sunday outbreak of 1965 tracked through this same Indiana-Ohio corridor and produced 47 tornadoes in a single afternoon. Then in September 2004, a derecho swept from Indiana through western Pennsylvania in under 6 hours with 80-mile-per-hour winds. Neither event had the warnings we have today: smartphones, sirens, and wireless alerts that can reach you in seconds. Today you have every advantage those 1965 families did not have, and the most important one is that phone in your hand. There is one group I want to address directly right now, and that is anyone living in a mobile home tonight. A mobile home provides almost no protection against even a weak tornado or 60-mile-per-hour straight-line wind gusts. If you are in a mobile home park anywhere from Indiana through the Northeast, please identify a neighbor's permanent structure now. Do not wait for a siren. Rain-wrapped tornadoes at night can give you less than 2 minutes to act. Let me go deeper on why Saskatchewan and Manitoba deserve serious attention even though most viewers are not from there. When STP hits 5.2, it means all 4 tornado ingredients are maximized at the same time in the same place. Moisture, instability, wind shear, and lift a perfect 5.2 score means the atmosphere is as loaded as a spring trap. For comparison, the April 2011 super outbreak that killed 316 people had STP values of 5 to 8 across Alabama and Mississippi. The storms that form in Saskatchewan tonight will eventually track into North Dakota and Minnesota in the days ahead. Before leaving the southern plains, let me go deeper on flooding because this is where lives can be lost tonight. Central Texas and southern Oklahoma already absorbed several inches of rain last night on soil that was not fully dry. When soil is saturated, the next inch of rain has nowhere to go except into streets, ditches, and creek beds. The National Weather Service is reminding everyone tonight that 6 inches of moving water can knock a full-grown adult off their feet. Walter told me earlier he could see 3 of his pasture roads completely submerged from this morning's satellite pass. Let me stay on Puerto Rico because a heat index of 108 degrees is not just uncomfortable, it is medically dangerous. When the heat index exceeds 103 degrees Fahrenheit, the human body begins struggling to cool itself through perspiration. For adults over 65, that cooling mechanism is less efficient than at age 40, which makes extreme heat more dangerous. Symptoms of heat stroke include confusion, hot, dry skin, and a body temperature above 104 degrees. Call 911 immediately. Anyone in Puerto Rico without air conditioning should go to a library, a church, or a shopping mall right now. Let me go deeper on Tuesday and Wednesday because the model disagreement is significant and you need to understand it. The GFS is not bullish on Wednesday and shows only scattered severe weather across parts of Iowa and Illinois. The European model, on the other hand, has been showing widespread severe weather across Minnesota, Wisconsin, and Iowa for 4 days. When the European model shows the same pattern 4 runs in a row, that is a meteorological signal, not noise. Ruth said Fargo has had 4 severe weather events in 3 weeks and asked if this is becoming the new normal. Let me explain the Central American gyre because most weather viewers have never heard the term and it matters this week. The gyre is a broad, low-level spin that sets up over Central America and the southwestern Caribbean during early hurricane season. It acts like a pump, drawing warm, moist air northward and sometimes generating disturbances that can develop over the Gulf. Ray said the Gulf water outside Mobile Bay feels noticeably warmer than it normally does in early June when he fishes. The warmth Ray feels with his own hands is exactly what the models are flagging as development fuel for next weekend. Let me give you more of that good news because there are real things to look forward to in the 10-day pattern. After Sunday's cleanup rain across the East Coast, Monday and Tuesday bring a genuinely beautiful stretch for New England. Mid-70s, low humidity, light breezes off the water. This is the weather people move to New England for. The Pacific Northwest stays cool and stable all week, bone dry recently, but at least no heat and no severe weather. And for the Deep South, the rainfall building next week from the tropical moisture means drought relief is actually coming. Here's the bottom line on a few more specific action items I want every region to hear before tonight. Anyone with a graduation wedding or cookout in the Ohio Valley today, move it inside before 2 o'clock. Sunday drivers through Kansas, Missouri, or Iowa, check your route for flash flood watches before heading out. If you have a NOAA weather radio, tonight is the night to make sure it is on and alerting for your county. Let me close the same way I opened by asking you to think about the people around you right now. That greenish sky I mentioned at the top has warned families for generations before radar even existed. Folks, your grandparents read the sky the way their grandparents taught them, and that instinct is still worth trusting. But today you also have something no previous generation had: a warning system that can reach you in seconds. Use it, share it with a neighbor who missed today's forecast, and make sure your alerts are turned on tonight. Tonight, millions of people across 9 states will remember exactly where they were when these storms rolled through. The ones who had a plan this morning come through just fine, and you have that plan now. Check in tonight in the comments. Tell me how your area made out, and I will be here all weekend.